And tell you now about your grandfather. He went into a field one day and he seen this rabbit.
Daddy's father?
Daddy's father.
Yeah.
Your grandfather.
Yeah.
And he chased the rabbit all around the field. And far the rabbit went, he went after the rabbit. And he couldn't find his way back to the gate. No way he could find his way back to the gate. And he walked all around the field 3 or 4 times and he couldn't see no gate.
At night time?
It was getting dark now. So I ended up that he had to stay in the rain all night, in the field all night. It was a fairy. He was chasing a fairy around this field.
In the shape of a rabbit?
Yeah, it was in the shape of the rabbit. And he couldn't get out. The next morning when he woke up, he was up on top of the field. And he walked down along, no bother finding the gate. Out he goes through it. He was in the field all night. The fairies kept him in the field all night.
Aye.
Now there was Jack, cured. And Jack had a little shop. Yours brother.
Oh, up in Ballochna?
Yes. The fairies took him as well. He was out in the field one day chasing another rabbit. And he chased this rabbit and he chased it. No way he could get near the rabbit. Oh, he was chasing it for hours and hours. He was chasing the rabbit.
I remember you telling us this before, alright.
So, ended up like your grandfather, it got dark as well. But Jack ended up that he had to sleep in a tree all night. The next morning Jack woke up and he got out of the tree and he went home. So Jack was afraid of his life after that, because we used to go up to the shop and Jack would always have the door shut. Wouldn't let anyone in, and we'd have to say to him who we were. Afraid of his life at the fairies.
You'd have the shop door closed?
Yeah, afraid of being there by himself and May and Mika go off. They'd leave Jack there in the shop.
And you wouldn't let anyone in?
Wouldn't let anyone in. We'd have to tell him who you'd be.
When you go to the door?
Yeah, and Jack would
let you in then once you knew
we
you.
used to always say, Jack, you have to mind yourself, Jack, with the fairies will take you again. We used to say that to Jack. But now, there was Kinchler's house up here, where
Lingar?
Yeah, where Tim Whalen is living. That was built on a fairy path. So the woman and the man used to go to bed and their shoes would be brought down from the bed downstairs. His clothes would be brought down. The cups on the dresser would be turned around. This was going on for months and months. So Mrs. Kinchler went down to the parish priest. Priest came up to bless the house. He sat on the table. The hat fell to the ground. Mrs. Kinchler picked up the hat. She picked up the second time. And the third time, he says, the hat flew off the table again. And he says to her, leave it there. So he drove the fairies over it. But he lived no length after that.
Who didn't, Mr. Kinsler, the priest?
No, the priest didn't. He lived no length after.
Right.
Fairies, the fairy was, there was no more fairies in it. He drove the fairies over there.
There was no fairies ever seen again?
No, there was never nothing seen again in it. And sure, Kinchler's house up the road here, your father used to come home from work.
Some relation of Daddy's lived in that,
he was
didn't
an uncle. Your daddy's.
That was a lad who drowned it, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tom Quincy. And your daddy used to see this light in the window, colour, all different colours in it. Every night he'd come home, don't know what this light was seeing. He went to the priest and the priest told him to say 3 Hail Marys. And of course the light disappeared, he'd never seen nothing else.
After saying 3 Hail Marys.
Yeah. So that is, the road down here sure is haunted as well. Down here, don't know, because
Aye.
you'd often hear noise down there if you'd be walking. And if you, I often heard steps like this coming after you. When you hear steps after you, there's somebody behind you. Sweat pours out of you then. Chains and everything.
A ghost or something?
Oh, be a ghost, be haunted. And another thing, it's unlucky for a robin to fly into a house. I remember the morning poor Willie Sinnott died. There was a robin flew in here. Remember I told you that?
Sure, I was here that morning, sure.
And he flew into that window there. And I said to you that someone was dead.
Yeah. We were up
or
in the
somebody's
room.
going to die. And I caught the robin and I put the robin out. And the robin came back in. And I said, leave him there. And Bridget came down in half an hour and told us that father was
That's right.
after dropping dead.
Poor father dropped dead.
When I was young, I was home one night and I was getting into the bed. I was 15 at this time. And the next thing, I see my own father in the room.
Remember you telling us?
Remember I told you
Yeah.
that? And I said to Sheila, do you see anything? No, she said, I don't see nothing. When my father was standing at the foot of the bed. And the next day I got word that he was dead. The door appeared here. Because I remember this man had a crash down in New Ross or somewhere. I was going back a while now, I told you this before as well. It was on the papers about. And the man had a crash going to work. And he killed 2 men in the van. And now he was in the hospital for a good while after that. He came home, he was home for a while before he went back to work. When he was going back to work next day, then they picked your 2 men up. They used to go to work with maybe every day. And when he went to let him out, stopped and all where they go to work, the 2 men was gone out of the car. But sure, the poor man went where?
Ghosts, he said.
Yeah. There was their ghosts. And another thing, your father was going up the road at Lennon's Bridge. And Nellie was with him. And met this one, banshee. Big long head of hair. She combed away on it, the head of hair. And there wasn't, what do you call it? There's, where Jim killed the house built now, there was a family in there. Lennon's, that's it. And when she died, the same night, and because anyway, they seen the banshee come, she came up for him.
I remember Daddy telling us he thought it was Tom Dempsey's sister.
He
or
thought it was
something.
Tom Dempsey's sister, but one was a banshee. Because he used to follow all the O's and everything like that. She'll tell you about poor old Peter's mother. We heard her that night going up the road.
Yeah.
And because anyway, the next day we heard poor old Nanny was dead.
Or Nanny Bryan, yeah.
Nanny Bryan was dead. And the banshee came for her.
Oh, friggin'
She'd
right,
go
I'm
all around the river. Hurry up now out here. To start from out there, all around at the back of Donegal. And you'd hear her crying for hours and hours. She'd come for any O's and sure, John Nail shot the banshee.
Oh, John told us that.
He shot the
Yeah,
banshee.
he told us
He said
that.
it was only 8 birds.
Yeah, so he did. He told us that.
Yeah.
We were
He
young.
shot the banshees.
Remember, we used to be talking to him and he
But
said to
sure,
us he shot the banshee.
That time, if we were always warned, if they find a comb on the road, you couldn't pick it up because it'd be the banshee's comb. And it did happen one time. There was a person picked up this comb and she came to the window crying her eyes out for to get the comb. And they had to get the tongs and hand the comb, put the comb on the tongs, hand it out to the window to her.
She took the hands off.
Yeah, she'd take the hands off you. So she would. She'd take the hands off. And sure, there was another time too. There was when I think it was when your grandfather died. No, I think it was when he died. The banshee was seen that night, heard that night outside the gate as well. But Granny always said never came for any of us, their crowd. It always came for tools and Donahoo's and all like that.
In front.
And yeah, we know in it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson cut sticks off Donahoo's Ryan up here.
From Barneray.
Yes. Poor old Pat Donohue asked Daddy to come. And Daddy wouldn't come. And I said, Daddy, you're not cutting them. So Jimmy went off and he had to cut the sticks. And he was no end in the field when he was cutting the ditch along. The slash hook flew over his hand. And Jimmy looked for hours and hours for that slash hook. Was never found. Never found the slash hook. He'd no luck. Got him. Kathleen got her hand in the lawnmower. He was nearly killing Jimmy, lawless child, getting off the bus. I know it wasn't his fault, he went across the road, but that wasn't the point. He got better after that. He went to Wexford Hospital, and they could find nothing wrong with him in Wexford Hospital, nothing. And there was people went in to see him, people told me that he was like a little ferryman sitting up in the bed. The fairy was after having him.
And they could find nothing wrong with
Find nothing
all the
wrong.
tests and all that.
All the tests. But sure, Johnny was the same. He was on the ferry path as well, and sure, he had no look at her. Every day he'd have to be up in the hospital and everything. No, he can't touch, not belong to the fairies, I'm telling you. We remember when I was young, there was Sam Johnson lived beside us, up there beside Benny now. And there was furlongs up where Jimmy Carr is living now.
In Garbally.
In Calbally. He was after cutting sticks on the ferry path as well.
Who was?
Furlong.
Oh, the furlong man.
And he went down, he asked Sam Johnson for the loan of the horse and car. And of course Sam didn't know where he was getting the sticks. And he gave him the horse and car. The poor old horse only lived 2 days. He died in pain. We could hear him crying.
At your house?
At our house. The fairies have to draw the sticks, and the fairies have to kill the horse. That's when you get the better, yeah.
Bad luck.
Yeah, and Jim Larry, the man who I was reared, he was in the bed one night, and it could have been maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, and he woke up and this woman was standing beside him in the bed. He got up and he walked down the stairs with her. He went down onto the road, down along the path, and Benny was coming home from a disco. And Benny met the one, all dressed in white, at Day Trees. When he came in, Jim said nothing on it for a minute, and he says, "What's wrong?" "Oh, I'm after meeting a great big tall woman," he said, "and she dressed all in white." And don't worry, he said, she was here. It was someone, Jim's wife died a few days after that. And now Jim was coming home, and it was in the daylight at the Bog Lane. The Bog Lane is haunted. Do you know how your daddy, there was a fella by the name Malloy dropped dead going to work one morning off a push bike. And your daddy always makes a cross. There's a cross up there.
Yeah, he made.
Daddy made. And Jim Larry's coming home, and this lady jumped up on the car dressed in purple, sitting beside him. And when he came to the Bog Lane, she disappeared, went down the Bog Lane, long with the hair, in the daylight. No one could see her. He blessed himself. So, by God, anyway, that was alright. If you wasn't by that road at 10 o'clock at night then, the Bog Lane, you'd hear the noise and the feet.
Chains dragging?
Yeah, dragging behind. And the sweat pour off you. There was a man always seen with a black dog. A big, tall man.
I remember you telling us that, a big, tall, huge black dog, yeah. We were children, you used to be telling us the ghost stories.
And Jolie Murphy lived down there at the pump. Now she had been sick, and Pat and Owen, they were coming home. I don't know where they were coming from, but they were coming home. And they seen Julia, and Pat went to stop to let Julia in.
Give her a lift.
To give her a lift or see what was wrong with her.
Yeah.
And disappeared all of them sudden. Julie was gone. But Julie was dead at the same time.
Alright.
And poor old Pat was seen as well, coming up the field as well before he died.
Who's Pat now?
That's the brother Pat.
Alright.
Pat Murphy. And he used to smoke pipe. But poor old Julie always came up the lane. And she changed the boots at the head of the lane. She'd bring up 2 pairs of boots, and she changed them, one for the road and one for the wet field. But your Donahos up there, there was they used to be always playing cards. And this night, they could play cards maybe till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And there was a back door and a front door. Your man walked in the back door, big tall man, walked straight through when they were playing cards, and went out the hallway. Now that time, don't know, there's a bad turn up there, still on it. But there wasn't many cars that time on the road in Henry's. But an odd one. But if any car that came, they always seen this man. big tall man. And the cars would pull in to let your man by. And they'd go into the grave. So poor old Jim Larry often go out of bed at 3 or 4 o'clock to lift the cars out of the ditch. But after that, the Lord God blessed. There was never anything else seen in it.
And was he still seen at the bad turn?
No. He disappeared
there
at the back door. And sure, Daddy seen a man. He's going home from work, a big tall man, and he had a big overcoat on him. Coming down Pat Burke's road. And he says, one night, God, I'll have big company going down the road, he says. And Daddy went his living best on the bike. He was only all small at that time. And Daddy go quick, the lad would be quicker. The lad would be going straight ahead in front of him.
No, he was walking.
Yeah. And the minute a car come, your lad would disappear. That was funny, the lad would disappear. And Jimmy Carr was out in Donoghue's field. He was counting the cattle. And Daddy was out telling Jimmy Carr about this lad. And this lad stood beside Jimmy Carr in the field. The same coat and all Daddy had seen on him. He went all around the fields with Jimmy.
Looking
at the cattle. And when Jimmy got to the gateway, the lad was out at the gate before him. So all up there was haunted.
Would there be any Ryans running up there though?
But sure, there don't know who's Ryan.
Yeah.
Where the old Blessed Well is.
Ryan in that field?
No, right straight across from the Blessed Well.
All right.
Ryan is up there. And there was there was a Blessed Well down there. And I used to bring yours down when you were only children, down to this Blessed Well. And it was lovely. There was medals and there was half crowns, 2 shillings, 6pence, threepenny bits.
Yeah, all lovely.
Everything.
Rosary beads and everything.
Yeah, everything. Big hole in the tree and all pointed. And I remember a man going down to it on crutches. And he went down, he put his 2 feet in the well and he left the crutches down there. He came back without his crutches.
Got cured.
He got cured.
I got cured out there.
Yeah, sure. Daddy brought yours up. Yeah. Got cured.
I got cured out there.
Ellen got cured in it.
Oh, there's a cure in it,
But there was no, I'm telling you, it should have never been done away with. There was a graveyard down there as well, but you can see the walls all around where the graveyard is.
Now, yeah.
The ruins at the ground. But there's another thing I was telling you about. There was these other men and they were playing cards. Say Johnny and Jim. They used to go to the people years ago at that time used to go on to play cards in everyone's house, different houses. And your man, they must have been playing maybe 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, we say Jim decided he'd go home. He'd walk home. And the other lad said he'd follow him on after it. But Jim came across this lad playing music in the ditch. All the grandest music he could hear. And the man was sweating. He had took off the overcoat and the jumper and whatever it was. The next thing he was taking off his shirt when your man came. His friend, Johnny came. And he said, "Hey Jim," he says, "what are you doing?" "I'm dancing to this music." And he says, gave him a great nudge. He knew him well enough to look down to see the devil's feet. Well, your man wasn't long putting on his clothes back on him. The devil was almost had him.
Johnny seen him as well.
Johnny seen him. Well, he didn't mind. He never seen him till Jim came along. Or Jim was dancing. But he never seen him till Johnny came along.
Never minded him.
Never minded his face. 2 crooked feet. That time there was, and the Donoghue's Kyburks Road. There was always that time people was they had anyone died. You were brought maybe with the hearse.
The horse and cart.
Yeah, to the chapel. And all the Donoghues were out playing one night. And there was several more. Around 12 o'clock, this horse, 2 horses, and the car and the coffin went up Donoghue's hill. And I tell you, Donoghue's and the young lads, everyone was uncleared it. The coffin of and no one knows where it went. Nobody knows where it went. It was haunted.
No one knew who was dead. There was no one dead around.
No one dead around, they knew. No one dead around. And sure there was there was another man as well. He went into this field as well, into a rahin field as well. And he had a tent. Another Mick Hughes his name, but not Mick now, not Jack's brother, but to be all the one as well. He went into the tent, or into this field, and Mother had told him not to go into this field. It was on a fairy path. The man went in, and he set up a little tent in it. And he was in the tent when the tent started to move along the ground. And every time he'd stick the tent down farther, or the stake down farther in the ground, the tent was able to move. He wasn't long getting out of it.